Ah,
Dun dun
that's
dun.
it.
Dun 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 dun.
Some
Dun dun
things
dun
change
dun dun.
and some things stay the same.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun dun. We are back, brother
Yeah,
Jamoul.
my man.
We are
What's
back.
goody?
What's going on, bro? What's going
How
on?
you, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm living, man. I'm living and I'm thriving. Not surviving. Let me make sure we don't get the words mixed up, but thriving. Enjoying myself, enjoying family, and making the most out of these days we've been given.
Right,
How about you?
man. Same here, man. Just uh, reflecting on last year and trying to find the peace and sanctity in the new year. You know,
Mm-hmm.
be it mercy and grace. Be that mercy and grace is bestowed on me and my family. And making it to 2022 is without a doubt a
Mm-hmm.
pretty decent accomplishment, considering,
I
and
agree.
I don't mean that insensitively or um, and definitely not making a joke out of it because we are in indeed uncertain times.
Mm-hmm.
So man, I'm so happy we back, man. Episode 22, the first episode of what we would probably call season two
Mm-hmm.
in the year 2022. You know what I mean?
And it's two of
It
us.
is two of us. Right,
You know
right,
what I
right.
mean?
You know what I'm saying? A lot has changed. A
Yeah.
lot of things have stayed the same. One of the things that stayed the same is me and Rob. Um, we intend to give y'all more of what you're looking for, and we want to say the things that you're thinking that you may not have the opportunity to say, and represent
Mm-hmm.
ideas that may not necessarily be widely respected and verbalized, but they are absolutely necessary for us to discuss. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Definitely.
And one of the things, man, you know, on our break, on a hiatus, you know how the holidays hit you. They put a lot of stuff on. People got time off work. They put a lot of stuff on TV. You know what I'm saying? I got a chance to take in what was it, the third or fourth season of Cobra Kai, and
Okay.
now I'm trying to find time in my spare time to watch the fourth season of the Ozarks. Like I'm only on episode two. It's been out for a few weeks. I know some of y'all out there, right, have already taken it all the way in.
Y'all be watching that to get like ideas. Like I feel like I might have seen one episode, but then like my criminal mind started to grow, and I just was like, I don't think I want to be a criminal, so I stopped watching. You know
And
what I
you know
mean?
how Netflix is, right? Shout out to Netflix. You start watching one too many of these same type shows, they start inundating your feed. So I got
Hmm.
all kind of forensic crime
Yeah, they got
capers.
you tagged already. They got you tagged.
They
They
got me
got you
tagged
tagged.
already. But one of the things, man, that occurred to me, just with respect to right, um, what people are going through in the corporate industrial complex,
Mm.
yo, it pays to be as cool as Marty Bird. Marty Bird is the main character of the Ozarks, right?
Okay.
Played by what's my man name? Jason Bateman. Yeah, old actor from the '80s TV sitcom, right? But you got to be as cool as Marty Bird. Marty Bird is a stone cold like drug dealer, but he's an everyday guy,
Uh-huh.
and he's involved with some unscrupulous characters of the most extreme type. And he literally is cooler than the other side of the pillow. Anybody out there listening to me, if you hear any lies, let me know. I'm not lying. You know what I'm saying? And it
Uh-huh.
occurred to me, man, you really have to have that type of temperament,
Mm.
especially now, right? With chaos around you, people are, you know what I mean, for lack of a better phrase, and I don't mean this literally, but people in the corporate industrial complex is shooting each other down and leaving each other hanging. Like, I don't want to work here
Mhm.
no more, so I'm out,
Uh,
and I'm leaving you with all this work that I ain't finished yet. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
you kind of got to be like, all right, well, okay, we'll see you. We'll see you when we see you. You know, it's
Hmm.
okay. It's all right. You got to be. And then on the flip side, when people are hitting you up, coming at you, right, with all types of new responsibilities. You know, you got 3 or 4 hats you wearing. They only
Hmm.
paying you for one. You got to be like, okay. You got to be like Marty Bird, because how you gonna survive? As emotional and as high strung as I can be at times, it ain't time for that. You got to rise above that crap, that emotional stuff, and
Uh-huh.
into a level of conscious and objective thinking. You can't be in your feelings. Not today. What you think?
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I haven't said this to you offline, so this might be a shock to you. We gotta look at things for the blessings they are. The ability that we have to take on more tasks. A lot of times we don't look at what these folks are offering as the blessing because it's like this isn't how it's supposed to operate.
Right.
So I'll give you two sides of it. They see that you're able to do it. They feel like you're capable of it. It may be stretching you, it may be breaking you in some form or fashion, and you voice your opinion, but they don't give a damn. You keep voicing your opinion and they don't care.
Nope.
At some point in time, your opinion, you have to recognize what it is, and it's a mile marker to let you know how far you've gotten past a level of respect, right? If someone doesn't care for your time, they don't care for your physical being, and then they don't care about you actually expressing how you feel about what you're going through.
Right.
You've reached enough stoplights in a small town to know it's time for us to leave. And I believe that a lot of times, and I have this saying, right? Folks will do bids everywhere else except their house. And for those who don't understand the term of bids, it's sort of like you'll have people who will go to jail for their friends. They'll go to jail for all types of people who may be passing them by in the street. But when it comes down for people who they care about, they won't give time. They won't do the time for those who they really should care about. I tell people, if you don't like something, don't do the bid for a place that doesn't treat you right. Maximize your time for you.
That's right.
So when I think about it, I'm not going to talk to you too many times. I'm going, right? I'm on the next Boeing 757 Air Force One. President Felder is on his way up out this piece. And some people say, oh, Rob, it's not always about leaving. Lies. Because if I've
Lies.
expressed myself and I realize that you're okay with me expressing myself because that's not a consequence for you, right? You might be used to having people nag you at home. You might be used to people talking to you about things a million times at home. Wash the
Right.
dishes, take out the garbage. Why you didn't make dinner? Why you didn't pick up the kids? And you hear it. Then you go to work and you're like, well, listen, you ain't as bad as my husband and my wife. I could deal with your nonsense.
Right.
Me, bro, I'm out that piece. I don't owe
You
like
ain't-
we don't owe nobody. I don't owe you nothing, sucker. You know what I mean? Like, and you're not gonna hit me with the mission and all and the people that we working for and the people that we save. Listen, I got little people at home who want to see me,
Right.
who want to go on trips, who want to
Right.
go ice skating. I cannot, and this is something, and I'll end it with this. This is something that I've learned as I've gotten a little bit older and had kids of my own and have kids of my own. I can't sit out and trying to be someone who is helping everyone else but won't help my own. You know what I mean? And what that means is I could try and coach and mentor and help a lot of people out in their lives. But if I feel unappreciated, if I feel undervalued, and I express that to people and they say, well, damn, bro, man, just your benefit comes from the work that you do. Well, here's the crazy thing. That's for me to decide. And it's on me to decide the balance in which I'm going to operate in.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. Folks got to find a balance. You can't allow someone else to calibrate your life for you.
Right.
That's the best way to look at it. Coin that right there.
Yeah,
Bing.
yeah, yeah. Bing.
That's where we run into problems at. We are allowing the workforce, we're allowing companies to calibrate our life for us.
Right.
Right? They take the compass of your life and they spin it around, and you think you're going north, but they said it's south. You don't know where you're going until they tell you the right place. That's why issue comes in there. That's why issue is, as far as from my side.
So how do we take our power back? How do we regain uh, control over our direction?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna
Well,
ask you this. I want you to give you a stab at answering that before we bring up our first scenario that kind of stood out to me more than anything else over the break, over our hiatus. But and shout out to everybody out there listening, man. Welcome back to the Level Up Past Corporate Trauma podcast. To all of our listeners, all of our viewers, all of our supporters. Um, you know what I mean? Shout out to Felder Works and Never Average Break Free podcast. You know, thank you for your support over our first 21 episodes. We back at it. Yeah, but so how do we, you know what I mean? How do we get all that back?
no, we got to sit back and calibrate. We have to put our own life into perspective before we go into someone's workplace. A lot of times we build our whole entire life around the workplace.
Yes.
You you've given something away you probably didn't even know you had. And what do they always say? People will tell you, when you meet some people, the first thing they tell you is what their profession is. Hey, who are you? I'm a doctor. No, no, no. Like, who are you?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no,
Yeah.
who are you? And a lot of us, we've allowed ourselves, and in some cases, it works for some people. We're defined by what we do in the marketplace of work,
Mm.
you know. And if that's
Yeah.
and if it works for you, then you ride off into the sunset. But for
Right.
the vast majority of those who are in the workplace, when you show up and you realize, like, hey, no, I'm Rob. I'm not the guy that works at the corner store. You know what I mean? I'm not just an entrepreneur. I'm not just a dad. Like I'm all of those things. Like all of these things add up to who I am. But most
Right.
importantly, this is what I'm about. So I think for us, if we want to take that power back, the first thing we got to do is this actually figure out what have we given away.
Mm.
You know what I mean? What is it that we've allowed other people to hold on for us, other people to decide what makes sense in our life, and then start to decide on our own.
That's right. So one of the things, man, I couldn't. It shocks me how different scenarios, and I'm at the point where I'm not surprised,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still amazed at people's audacity in the workplace. Like, I don't know, maybe because I can't relate to it.
Mm.
I'm not surprised, but it's like, yo, they tried it. So to those of you who may not know what the Level Up Past Corporate Trauma podcast is, our conversations are are based and are built around a foundation of helping ourselves, first myself and Rob included, right? and those who listen and our various guests that come on is to
Mm-hmm.
put the humanity back in being a professional. Like it's not two separate things, right? You just heard Rob say, who are you? You're not you the name affixed to the job function that actually perform. You're much more than that. However, when you go into the corporate industrial complex, you're legally identified um, with a group of people, numerous people as one entity. So we lose our humanity in the middle of that
Mm-hmm.
because somewhere in the middle of that, it gets messed up, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
people think because I belong to a group of people that is legally identified as one entity for tax purposes, that I'm all of a sudden, right? Not a
Mm-hmm.
not a person with a personality, right? Anymore. I have to leave all that at the door. And as Rob always says, man, don't leave your heart at home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but even with all of that said, right, it still amazes me the audacity of what is attempted and a lot of times successfully pulled off in the corporate industrial complex with respect to taking people's humanity and causing this thing that we've coined as corporate trauma, which
Mm-hmm.
is the fear, stress, anxiety, anger, depression, frustration, and cognitive dissonance, and that as a continuum that people go through,
Mm-hmm.
and that cognitive dissonance is you becoming somebody else to be able to survive at work, right? Case in point, Rob. I don't even know what city, I don't know what state. All I know is there, and some of y'all may have heard this story, and I would love feedback in the chat. Um, Comment if you have heard this story. There was a young lady who was a server, or better, also known as a waitress, but we know it's server at a restaurant. And anything relating to the restaurant industry right now is filled with corporate trauma experiences
Mm-hmm.
because they're understaffed, right? The pandemic has hit this industry and these individual businesses, mom and pops and chains, really hard because of the social distancing aspect and the open forum. I mean, the open concept that a lot of restaurants have. It's just you in there and you in a room with a lot of people that don't mix well with a pandemic. so, so needless to say, it's short staffed. This one young lady, right, is um, she's attending to a party of between 30 and 40 people.
It's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. And I know because my wife, um, like I cut hair and sold sneakers at retail shops through college. But a lot of people that I know, like my wife, were um, were restaurant servers because it's a cash business, it's tips, it's flexible schedules, and it just works well with being a college student. And a lot of people I know, I was a banquet server. It's a little bit different than a restaurant server. A lot of people make a career out of that because it's flexible and you can dip your hand in the arts or go to
Mm-hmm.
school and just be a multifaceted individual because
Yeah.
people got to eat, right? So I can imagine this young lady is just trying to make ends meet, and she may love what she does, or she may just be
Mm-hmm.
doing it to support the other things of her life that she loves. But she's serving in a
Mm-hmm.
pandemic in a restaurant that's understaffed, a party, Rob, of 30, 40 people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. Unbeknown to her, this
Yeah.
group of people they are a organized group of people that
Mm-hmm.
get together every so often to go to a restaurant and eat together. And the pact that they make, the premise, the theme of their eating and breaking bread with each other is that each person has to bring a $100 tip
Too
to
rich for
bless.
my blood.
Huh? Would you say?
Too rich for my blood.
Right. $100 tip. And,
$100 tip.
and to bless the servers that take care of their dinner party. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a really,
That's dope
really
though. That's dope.
that's just dope. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different people, you know, that do things like that. But this particular is like, oh, we're gonna get together, we're gonna go out to eat, and we're gonna change somebody's life tonight,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, young lady, she is working this party. It's understaffed. She only has a runner
Mm-hmm.
available to her, and from what I understand, what I heard, what was written about this story, the runner had to leave early, so she finished the party by herself. So we talking about 30 plus people. We talking about drinks. We talking about bringing out all their food.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, taking their orders, bringing out all their food, fixing issues, and kind of making sure everybody. We talking about water. We talking about
Yeah, that's a lot.
soft drinks. We talking about possibly alcoholic beverages. We talking about food allergies. I mean, those of y'all that know the game, right? It's not, you got to know what you're doing, and you got to have a certain level of
Mm-hmm.
energy and composure to be able to pull this off. So she pulls it off and ends it by herself. Boom,
Uh-huh.
right? They present her with the gratuity at the end of the night. It ends up being $4,400. Woo!
Nice. Nice.
That's a nice piece of change
Mm-hmm.
to net for a couple of hours of work,
Mm-hmm.
right? I gotta take a deep breath on this, man.
Ah.
Y'all know it's coming. Hold up.
Oh, the first one of the year. Oh.
They give her the tip. They make an announcement. Somebody's recording this. You can go on the internet. You can listen to it. They give her the tip. They bless her. She realizes that this is the thing. They present
Mm-hmm.
her with $4,400. The restaurant manager says, "Hey, yo, great job. However, with all due respect, you have to split the proceeds of your tip money with everybody, kitchen staff, management staff, me, other servers that didn't help you, but we'll let you keep 20%."
A
For those of
win-win.
you that's mathematically challenged at times, especially when I'm emotionally aroused like this, that's $888 from 4,400. That's $880 from 4,400, Rob. She was like, "What do you
Hell.
mean we've never tip shared before? What is this new policy all of a sudden?" But wait, it's get worse. To quote my man Buster Rhymes, right? But wait, it gets worse. Um, she was like, "Nah." The restaurant management was like, "Either you get down or you lay down.
Get
But
down and lay
either
down, sucker.
way,
Yep.
we taking this money, right?
Run your pockets.
Run your, like, that's just a
It
wow."
sound like a
So
DMX
you at the
verse.
high, you you at the apex. Talk about an apex of a moment in
Mm-hmm.
one instance, and then the very next second,
Yeah.
your apex is it hits rock bottom.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And
That's a lot.
so this group, I don't know what they call themselves, finds out, because they're still in the building,
Mm-hmm.
that the restaurant or the house is taking her tip. They request their tip back. They're like, "No, no, no, it's not gonna go down like that." Because for y'all that don't know, you're not required. I don't know what state laws is where y'all at. At a certain point, you're not required to leave a tip,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're not required to leave any type of. You can argue that. You can argue that piece. They can't
Mm-hmm.
make you
They
leave
can't.
a tip.
Maybe they could tell you we're not gonna let you come back in this restaurant though.
Right. They can add it on your bill, but at the end of the day, gratuity is gratuity. And if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, right? So this group was like, "Nah, it's not gonna go down like that. Refund us our gratuity." And they
Mm-hmm.
presented the young lady with that whole $4,400 gratuity, because it's a part of their They're giving.
Okay.
It's a part of
Yep.
their theme. It's what they do. They gave it to her outside after her shift, or
Mm-hmm.
she left her shift. Gave it to her. Restaurant finds out about it either that night or soon after, or it probably wasn't hard to figure out
Mm-hmm.
that they took the gratuity back because they requested it, gave it to the young lady on the outside of the restaurant on the other end of her shift. She's not working, so basically it's a stranger giving another stranger $4,400 on the curb.
It was a drug transaction.
It was hand in hand. I'm
Ah.
sorry. I'm sorry. See, that's why I can't be around you, right? The restaurant finds out and fires her, Rob. I was like, yo, I'm listening. I'm listening. The first time I heard this story, I'm listening to it on the radio driving my car. My hand grips around the steering wheel a little tighter. My foot hits that gas a little harder. I'm taking corners a little faster. Like I just not surprised because I've heard things as egregious and worse, right? But it still amazes. I'm not surprised, but it still amazes me people's audacity to use their authority over your employment or the way that you make ends meet to control and take advantage. And I coined a new phrase.
Okay.
We're gonna hear it here for the first time. People will play insecurity politics. They don't.
Insecurity politics.
In the workplace is finding out what you are professionally insecure about and using it to their advantage in order to control you and get you to do what they want you to do.
Yeah.
That a lot of times ain't even in your best interest. Oh, you're an at-will employee. You're a restaurant, like it's high turnover in the restaurant business anyway. You're fired.
Yeah.
Because you didn't give us the money that we didn't earn. Rob, that was a long way around of me asking you what the HE double hockey sticks is going on here. They stole from her. I mean, that's just nowhere. It's just no other way to explain it. They stole her money and was forced to give it back and then stole her money by taking her job. How do you make sense of this? I already know what you're going to say, but I'm going to ask anyway. How do
You
you
shouldn't
make
be
sense of it?
working.
Huh?
You shouldn't be working. I'm not going to curse today. You should not be working with bleepity bleep 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 people like that, right? And I see I struggle at times because when you really think about it, it's similar to the situation where it's like in America, it's like, yo, you made so much money, you don't need all that money. We should tax you at 70%. Now I'm not in that bracket. I don't really care if they tax them, but on a smaller level, when you think about it, when somebody decides that you got too much and they have the authority to take it from you, that's a tough place to be in, right? Because just think about it. You give the money back, you take 880. You will never be the same unless you're that type of person. Like you like to have a bus ran over you all the time, right? You will never be the same person when you walk in there. Right. When that person come to the school, when that person come to in the office, and the black shoes, the non-slip shoes that they wear, and you realize one of your coworkers got the Jordan or the Tiger Woods non-slip shoes on.
Yep.
You like, yo, damn. Jamoul used my money to buy them shoes. When the other girl coming, oh, look at my new tattoo. She used my money to buy that tattoo. when you see somebody driving down the street and they little putt, I ain't walking no more. use my money to buy them shoes, right? And it's not, and I think sometimes folks will get it mixed up where it's like, well, it's not bad if they, you was able to help out other people. But the difference is sometimes is when it's not your choice and somebody switches up the rules. And I think for me, that's the biggest issue. If that was the rules, and to be honest with you, whether it's in the workplace, whether we're talking about race, whether we're talking about anything in the diversity spectrum or just
Right.
in life,
Right.
we have to one talk about and then agree on what the rules of engagement
Right.
will be.
Yeah.
Because if you, I'm not with. All right, well, that don't make no sense today. I'm switching that, and I don't have a choice in it because she wouldn't have had a problem if she would have known, regardless of what your tip is, you'll get 20% if it's above a certain number, right? Because ultimately, that's you got to have those things in place. Those guardrails are important, regardless if you're at work and someone's trying to give you so much work that you're at 150% of your salary.
Right.
Right. And I think sometimes that's what folks got to kind of look at. When you look at the work that you're doing, how does your salary equal up to that in percentages? Right. Because if I'm at 150% of my workload, like, hey, I'm doing 150%. It's not about how much effort I'm putting in, but when you look at what I'm producing and
The
the things that
results.
I'm involved in,
The results.
I'm doing half the job of another person in my full job. And if that was not something that I was made aware of from the beginning, then I'm supposed to have issues. And the
Yeah.
idea of, well, we family, we doing it for the mission.
Nah.
Oh, I don't know what you talking about. Give me my $4,400. Give me my money. Give me my money right now.
Right. But they took it. So our good friend
They wouldn't have got the money.
Nah has a comment. Shout out to Nikia. It's not required. However, it's if explicitly stated on the menu
Correct.
that it will be included, you're accepting because you initiated the transaction. It's
That
not
makes sense.
mandated unless there are over 6 people. Right. That and
That makes
thank
sense.
you for that clarity, right? So even if you come in there and you read the menu and you say, yeah, I'm gonna eat here, but trust and believe, I'm not abiding by this gratuity. I'm not
But
gonna do
that's
that,
you by
right?
yourself, though. But that's you by yourself. So
That's
that's what it comes down to. There's no rules around you giving gratuity, and that's why they don't tell you on the piece of paper when you come in there and you're eating by yourself. Hey, you're gonna pay 20%,
right.
right? But they'll tell you if it's six of y'all, we're gonna help you because we know you're gonna have four cheap people there with you.
But even if it's 6 of them, right? If how about this? You still, at the end of the day, you still don't have to do it. It's called gratuity. What if the service is terrible and the food is bad? You're not gonna
Then
tip,
you
and they can't make you,
well
right?
then
You know,
say
I mean,
then,
I'm
then
just
that
saying
means
it's
you gotta
at the
stay.
very least it's
I
arguable.
get it. I get it. Then I
It's
mean
arguable.
you have to have that argument. But I
Yeah.
know you're not gonna eat all the spaghetti and the meatballs and the fish and then lean back. Man, that was horrible. I'm gonna hit you with the plate.
Right. Right.
I'm gonna hit you with the plate.
Exactly.
Because
Right.
I know me, like, and I'm not even the violent one. It's Jamal, right? I'm the
Don't tell the people. Don't tell the good people that. It's always the nice ones you got to watch out for.
that's
But check it
true.
out, right?
That's true. Because I'm hitting you with the plate. I'm hitting you with
Right.
the plate. There's no ifs and buts about it.
Yo, so it brings up two other scenarios in my head, right? Tell me what you think. So I'm at the end of my rope working for an
Quit.
organization, right? Several years ago. Had a great experience, had a long-term employment run with these folks. Nobody that I'm presently affiliated with presently. So I don't want nobody to get worried out there. This is almost a decade ago, right? It's almost a decade ago. So y'all figure it out, right? People, people gonna be on my LinkedIn trying to look through my job history. Well, who was it? But so I'm ending it. I'm having a cordial conversation about succession planning. All right, what do y'all want me to do? Y'all want me to stay and train who's coming in? Like it was that type of situation. Like
Mhm.
it's no bad blood. Or do you want me to relinquish my post sooner than later?
Yep.
Right. And so when I started to figure out their ulterior motives, and they knew I knew because people talk, um, they was like, nah, Jamal, it's good. You've done a wonderful job. We've been, honored to have you in your
Mm.
team. But we just gonna make this transition now and make a clean cut, which is smart. That's a smart business decision. But just in case, we need you to sign this NDA, this non-disclosure agreement, so that you can get your bonus. I was like, first of all, I,
Oh,
first of all, I earned my bonus,
ain't that crazy?
right? So this is at the time. This is almost a decade ago, right? So at the time, this is how I dealt with it. I said I wasn't going to say nothing bad and throw nobody under the bus anyway. I earned my bonus. So the NDA is just a piece of paper to me. And if at the end of the day I feel like saying something, I'm gonna say it. But you're not gonna hold my bonus hostage on the way out the door, because you know that I know that you know that I know you did me wrong.
See, that's why you should have went Tupac on him. You should have hit him like see, that's the issue. So I'm trying to. That's why things like this continue to happen, because you get folks who feel like they got
I
all the
do
power.
tip, Lewis. Lewis said I don't tip. I tip. It's not me.
He don't tip. He don't
Yes,
tip.
I do.
I've been around him.
Hey, listen.
He got the same tip for every meal.
No,
Three
sir.
dollars and 75 cents.
No, sir. I double.
No, you do. You know what? You taught me that though. You did. You taught me that. You said, "Oh, what did you say? Double the number."
Double the first. If it's a double digit, if your bill is double digit, double the first number. If it's triple, double the first two. It's always comes.
You
It
did
always
see.
comes out as 20%. I learned that from wifey, a
You
former
did
server.
see. She's awesome. She's awesome.
Right.
Oh, you made me lose my train of thought. What were we saying?
Yeah, you were saying this is why you told me this is why I should have went Tupac on him.
No, you should have. Right? Because to be honest with you, folks will sit there and they treat you like a stepchild from one of them Disney movies,
Yeah.
right? And you really sit back and you realize these people only care about themselves, and
That's
they
it.
use the organization as a shill for effery.
Straight like that.
Straight like, and you look at it and it's like, why'd you treat me like that? And that's why I tell folks all the time, I'm like, once you half step on me, I'm Big Daddy Kane. Once I feel like you about to half step, so like once I feel like you about to go in a certain direction,
Right.
let alone if you get there, it's only a matter of time. And it's nothing personal for me. Like, I'm not even mad. And to be honest with you, I sit there and I say to myself, I should have known this sucker was going to do something like this.
Yeah.
You smart. This is what you get for sitting over there and feeling like, yo, we cool. Because once you clip me, I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, I'm out. I'm going. I'm about this piece.
Yeah.
But everybody doesn't look at it like that.
No.
I'm not trying to say, and that's the craziest thing about it. I always relate it to the experience of those who may be indigenous or those who have been harmed by a company or by a country. You will spend multiple lifetimes trying to get these jokers to do right by you. And what I mean by multiple lifetimes, you, your daddy's daddy, and your kids' kids will sit here and be trying to get something right that you did not start. She said, nah, I would rather fight the power. Exactly. So all it comes
Bro,
down
I don't
to, I know
I know
I get you, and I
I
know
did the right thing. I know I did the right
knowing
thing,
you,
right?
you ain't signed the NDA, and you said, listen, I'm gonna go to your bank tomorrow.
Nah, I
I'm gonna
did
get
the
my
right thing,
money.
right? I'm not. I'm because first of all, it's a bonus, right? You don't have to give it to me. You don't.
You gonna get my money.
However, I earned it, and it's not against. I wasn't gonna do anything. I was gonna like I'm coming to you. I'm bowing out. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's no reason to have a destructive relationship here, right? However, this is insecurity politics in reverse. I don't know what he's gonna say because I know he understands it. See, sometimes sincerity in the corporate industrial complex is foreign to a narcissist. It's like a foreign
Mm-hmm.
language, right? A
Yeah.
narcissist is like, I wouldn't, there's no way he's gonna walk away because this is what I would do. No, everybody don't think like you, narcissist. Everybody don't think like that. Some people just want a peace of mind, right? Some people just want to do their job and do right by people. Some people just want to be okay with what they did. So I don't feel bad. I don't feel like I did the wrong, the wrong thing, because what I learned from that situation is that
Mm.
the worst thing that could have happened. You know what that was? Me leaving.
There you
Like
go.
things fall apart.
You spoke with your feet, right? Bro, this is all I know, folks. Man, people who know me, they be like, man, this dude always he always down to leave. What section of the employee handbook states I have to sign this? That's true.
That's true.
See,
You have
same
to
way you
ask
want to
what
argue
section
about your
of the employee
gratuity.
handbook states I have to sign this.
You want to argue about your gratuity, but you don't want to argue about the bonus, right? You see how that works?
Yeah.
But for me, I
Right.
like I'm big on doing my best to remember what I control,
Right.
right? And I remember I was listening to a huge entrepreneur. I think he is in like Texas or something. Dave Ramsey, right? I
Yep.
remember listening to him on the radio, and he was like, "It's just crazy that all these folks are talking about they should get more money, and they striking outside." And I said, "Man, well, it does make sense if you want more money." And he's like, "Well, if you don't like it, you don't got to work there." And I said, "You know what?" I said, "You're right. You know the difference is everybody leave." I'm telling you, like the way I look at a lot of things, I will not patronize. Like I will not go to your store. I will not work in your city. You ain't got to tell. I will not buy a car that's made in your town. I'm telling you, you rub me the wrong way, and it will be for generations and generations. Like you know how in the Old Testament, like for generations and generations, and
Right. Right.
generations,
Right. Right.
right? The whole thing. We do not drive through there. We don't go there. Nothing. They be like, man, and I pass the word around. So like
Mm.
I work on using the power that I have, and I look to try and minimize the amount of power that I give the other to other people. And if
Right.
all I want to do is try to convince someone to love me the right way, when they say no, then what do I do? Right? I'm cool to leave.
Yeah.
Other people will spend 20 years somewhere being disgruntled, being mad, making the lives of their coworkers worse because they were mistreated,
Right.
right? Why not leave and go somewhere where people appreciate you? So when we're talking about corporate trauma and leveling up past it, a big thing for me is, do you know your lanes of power? Right? Do you know the lanes that are in front of you? Do you understand what they are? And what's going to be the best option for you at this point in time? And how does it set you up for the future? It can't just be, if you don't love me right, I'm going to sit here and let you keep busting me upside my head. We did that 60 years ago. I'm not beat.
Right.
I'm not. You don't want me in your neighborhood? I'm not living there. Your
Right.
neighborhood whack anyway. Smell like garbage.
Hot garbage.
Hot garbage. You know what I mean? I don't need to stay there. I'm not bringing my dopeness and my dope family to a spot that's whack. And I don't think people believe sometimes enough in themselves to look at it from that standpoint. I'm doing you a favor. You know what I
That's a
mean?
fact. It's like Dragonfly Jones on that episode of Martin. If y'all don't know Martin, the TV show Martin from the '90s, he dressed up as a martial artist, and the name of that character was Dragonfly Jones. And one of his first lines when he took the character Dragonfly Jones, he said, "It's a pleasure for you to meet me." Yo,
Boom.
but hey, at the end of the day, if I'm adding on to a structure and performing a job function that is going to benefit the whole, even as an individual contributor,
Mm-hmm.
the organization, it's a pleasure for you to meet me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Because I'm giving you a non-renewable commodity, time, in exchange
Yes.
for some dollars,
For some
and
dollars.
that is still not a that's still an unfair advantage.
It is.
So
It
the fact
is.
that I agreed to come here, but that's the big secret in the corporate industrial complex. We can't treat them like they are the they are the real value proposition
Mm-hmm.
here. We have
Mm-hmm.
to. It's like the Wizard of Oz. The wizard behind the curtain. Keeping the facade up and the secret and the glitz and the no, man. It's about the individuals that make the engine go right.
Mm-hmm.
Once I started to figure that out, I was able to think differently. Some advice I've gotten along the way. Shout out to my man Pierre Campbell, leadership coach. He said, "Man, you got to compartmentalize." Um, right? I've heard him coach people. You got to compartmentalize the emotions of the situation. You know, and I dig that because certain things are in your control and certain things are not in your control,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that's hard. Like, can you imagine? I'm not in control. They are running this tip through their cash register and they are going to keep my $4,400. What? I got you know, a four-figure bonus that I earned, and the only thing is standing in between that is me and an NDA, right? And a signature on a piece of paper. Like these are decisions that we
But you weigh your
constantly,
options.
constantly have to make.
But you, yeah, go ahead.
And some of it you leave your dignity on the table, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not with that. And then some of
Yeah.
it is like, yo, you really think you controlling me with this with this negotiation tip that you putting out there. Like some people don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really care. Like it's important to you. Like you want to, sometimes it's just ego. Sometimes it's just pride. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I want to be in control of this situation. So let me control this situation. Everybody don't. That doesn't mean a whole lot to some people because, like I coach, you have to make up your mind what you are going into a employment situation or a professional situation, even as an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur. What are you going into that agreement? What are you going into that situation to get?
Great point.
And you cannot be distracted by all the other variables that come up along the way. They're going to be obstacles. They're going to be things that you're going to have to, you know, deal with. But what did you go there for?
Mm-hmm.
And see, a lot of times, man, we go to places and don't really formulate why we're there, right?
When we
And get
know,
and get totally distracted when something else other than why we're there gets in the way.
mm-hmm. That's a perfect point, and it goes a long way, right? Abuse comes in three forms: financial, physical, psychological.
Yeah, you got to be solid in
Stay woke,
in all three.
right? Right, right. You know what's crazy though?
What's that?
The interesting thing, we live in the world where there's so many, we have access to so much stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? And In the workplace, we can work with a whole host of different people. We can run into a number of different situations. And then we deal with and interact with things as if it's the only place to work at in the world, right? When you think about the person that you love and you care about, there may be a whole host of other people in the world, but it's only one her or one him, right? That person that you married. So you interact with them different. You'll deal with things differently because you understand how important this one person is. Some people do, many people don't look at their job that way, their career that way, but they treat it that way. They know it's a whole host of other places to be, but all they really be wanting to do is have somebody agree with them, wanting someone to say, you know what, you are right. Let me treat you better. And what we've learned, that's why so many people listen to this podcast,
Right.
right? Listen to your words of the day
Yep. Listen to your break free moment.
because they're trying to figure out how psychologically they can change what they've been born into.
That's right.
And that's to accept what the powers that be or larger institutions put in place for you.
That's right.
When you said in episode 1 or episode 2, hey, we were taught how to interact with certain things or interact in a certain way in grammar school and high school. We were being trained for the corporate industrial complex, right?
Right.
Then it makes sense. How many, when you go to school, especially in many communities of color, how many folks are being raised to be raised in the household, but then also in school being raised to be free thinkers,
That's right.
to recognize their value? Because the earlier you recognize your value, the more you maximize it.
That's right.
If you just woke up yesterday and realized you heard, let's say you're female A, and you wake up tomorrow and out of nowhere, you get a song in your head by Whitney Houston. I'm every woman, it's all in me, right? Anything you want to be, right? And you're like, you know what?
Oh God.
I'm, I'm that chick,
Right.
right? Once you get to that moment of recognizing your value and your worth, everything changes
That's right.
because now you realize that the most important thing for you is to make sure that you're aligning yourself with things that you care about and things that you're passionate about. And I think that's where, when we look at the crusade that we're on, the biggest part of it is waking people up to recognize the power that they have.
That's a fact. And
You
people
know,
want to try to shake you. Like in your Whitney Houston rendition reminds me of another dope lyric uh, from Nas, from his famous song, one of my favorite Nas songs, Nas is like. He said, I'm like all races combined in one man. I'm
mm-hmm,
like the 99 Summer Jam.
mm-hmm,
Y'all don't know about 1999 in the world of hip hop in New
mm-hmm.
York City at Summer Jam sponsored by Hot 97. That's something you should probably look into, right? But we're gonna land this plane. Quick story, right? I know a world. I was reading a an excerpt written by a world leader, and he was going into a financial transaction with somebody
Mm-hmm.
who didn't want to participate. He was
Mm-hmm.
buying farmland to produce food to benefit thousands of people. But the owner of the land did not want to sell
Mm-hmm.
to this world leader for whatever reason. I don't like your politics. I don't like your people. I don't, whatever. Um, and this was known. But the world leader was making a cash transaction,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now I'm not. We're not financing it. There's no middleman. There's no banks involved. There's no paperwork to be signed other than you signing over the deed. And we're gonna hit you with this hot cashier's check right now, so you can go liquidate that immediately, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, because of the strength and the backing of the people that this world leader was going into this transaction on behalf of, the person they was doing the transaction with had no choice but to sell. And at the table that's signing over the deed, the owner of the land said, man, he said something to the effect that I don't want to sell it to you. I was thinking it was a cold day, and you know where before I would, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't like you, blah 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 blah. The world leader, the purchaser of the land, didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just signed the deed and took the land. Right. So, everybody, what is it that what land are you going in to purchase? And for whom will that land produce things that will benefit people that you represent? We're
Mm-hmm.
not saying, I'm not saying, I'll speak for myself. I know Rob ain't said, we're not saying surrender your dignity and go beneath yourself. However, in this corporate industrial complex, dealing with corporate trauma, when we talking about leveling up, we got to get past our emotions sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes our emotions is just about us, right? Somebody asked me an important question one time. What is it about you that so and so doing that irritates you so bad? Because they don't irritate everybody. They irritate, right? Everybody's not irritated. However, you are,
I'm not everybody.
right? So what is it about you that irritates you about that person?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. All right, what am I dealing with that I can't choose? I don't choose to rise above, or I don't. This irritates me, and we're not suggesting that anybody lend themselves to an abusive relationship. That's different, right? When you're being taken advantage of. But we get in these tight situations and we do things and don't know why, and then we end up being resentful and regretting it because we didn't formulate a real understanding of what it is that I'm trying to get out of the situation. Like the world leader was going in there to get farmland to grow food to produce
Mm-hmm.
resources for his people. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care what this dude's saying at the table. I don't really care that you took. Like I know this the server. She must have been. I don't really care. You know what I mean? That you fired me from this job. I've been fired from better jobs than this before, right? To quote my father-in-law, right? There is no reason. Like sometimes we just gotta let that stuff go
Mm-hmm.
to get what you need because it'll continue. The corporate industrial complex is designed to enforce insecurity politics on you. We're gonna find what you're insecure about and use that to your advantage. I
Correct.
mean, use that to our advantage to control you, right? And sometimes control means you don't understand your value. You
Mm-hmm.
bring it too much to the table. Like Rob's example earlier,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing one and a half jobs for the price of one. I'm wearing
Mm-hmm.
three hats for the same price of one, and but as long as I can employ insecurity politics on you, right? As long as I can threaten you, no, you do what I say. These are ad hoc responsibilities. No, that's a whole nother job, fam. I don't
I
have to
don't
do
even
that.
get a thank you.
Right.
I don't, the common courtesy, I don't even get a thank you, or I don't even get included to discuss how to make this work, not just for the company, but also for me.
Right. Because they're
Right? See
trying to
that?
normalize it. They're trying to
See that?
normalize it. No, no, no. Everybody's doing this. No, everybody is not. That's
No,
why
they're
I
not.
got to do two, three different things. You know what I'm saying? So, man, we hope this discussion really
Yeah.
gave you some courage. You know, it gives me courage, right? To just
Good
even
work.
talk these things out, man, because a lot of this stuff we ain't got to put up with, and a lot of these things we don't
Mm-hmm.
have to internalize the way that we do. We got way more control over these situations a lot of times than we give ourselves credit for.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it for me, Rob. Last word. What you got?
It's not about being angry. It's just being about it's just about being real to yourself. Right? It's not about being disgruntled. It's not about being upset. It's not about being angry or mad. Only dogs get mad. That's what my aunt told me. It's really about you deciding. If you tell nobody else, and make sure at least you tell yourself every morning that you are awesome and you deserve what you asked for. And if it's not offered, then you got to figure out where can you go. And sometimes you might be wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
then you got to reconcile.
Yeah.
So it's
And if
not
you
about.
leave, nobody
Mhm.
said you can't go back.
That's true. As long as you only burn the bridges and leave the boats over there.
Burn the boat.
Burn the boat, burnt the
Burn the
bridges,
boat.
and I can't swim.
Oh God. We
All right, I'm
crossed the
good.
bridge and set it on fire. Now I can't go back. Nah, don't do that. There's no need. I understand. I understand how you feel, but always
Mhm.
remember there's no need to have a destructive relationship.
Correct. Correct.
Nah, good talk. We
Yes,
look
indeed,
forward to
bro.
seeing everybody each and every week. We come back, we're gonna have to and listen, don't take it from us. We just two guys talking over this thing called corporate trauma. And
Hmm.
but we fully intend to bring back special guests to confirm the ideas and the thoughts um, as experts. So you got to tune
Hmm.
in every week to see who we got and what we're going to be talking about.
Yes,
Because corporate trauma really is, Rob, a sneaky passage trauma that'll creep up on you. If you ain't looking, it'll tap you on your shoulder. Hey, dude.
get in the call. Get in the call.
Right, right. And when it does sneak up on you, there's only one thing to do.
It's time to level up.
Yo, till we see y'all again later.
Peace.
Peace.